right, welcome back to Late Night Love. Relationships are messy, and tonight they're downright wild. Strap in for stories that blur the line between love, betrayal, and bedroom boundaries. I was perusing the interwebs the other day, and this came across my shorts feed, and it's a good story about what it really means to love somebody. It actually makes me cry. So, which is not necessarily difficult. So let's be clear. Tears me up. I tear up at the drop of a hat. So it is what it is. But it's just one of those things. It's because it's knowing your partner's needs is part of the long-term partnership and understanding them. So we'll talk about it on the other side.
Okay. Yesterday, my husband asked me if I wanted to go to Walmart, and I said, no, honey, I'm so tired, I just want to relax today. And he kind of put his head down and said, well, all right, well, I'll see you when I get back, and I love you. I waited a good 10 minutes, and I know dang well he just wanted to be with me. And I called him, and I said, honey, I think I do need something from Walmart, knowing I didn't. I said, how far are you? And he said, only about 10 minutes. You want me to pick you back up? And I said, please do. And I walked outside, and I stood in the driveway waiting on my husband to come and get me, just like we did when we first got together. And seeing that smile on his face, I knew I'd made the right call, literally. See, with my husband, it's about quality time. And although I get exhausted from day to day, I know my husband needs that from me. And I don't ever want to miss an opportunity going to Walmart with him, even if it's just to Walmart, because one day I'm going to miss that. It's about communication and listening about what the other person needs from you. And he needed me yesterday, and I had to give myself to him. That's my marriage for you.
Ooh. Yep. She had said no and realized, wait, he needed something different today. It wasn't just a trip to Walmart.
It wasn't a trip to Walmart.
It wasn't just a trip to Walmart today. It was something different.
Yeah.
She realized that. Tried to fix it and did. So anyway, that's that. When you talk about marriage and love, that's the stuff that's hard, right?
Yeah.
Because you're tired, you're exhausted. You don't even want to recognize that your partner needs you today. But you know what? They need me more today than I need to sit around and do nothing. So I'm going to go and do that. See, I just tear up at it. Anyway, so just a nice.
No, honestly.
Yeah.
Do I do that for you?
We have our own ways of doing things, right? We take care of each other. Yeah. Just saying, we take care of each other. We do what each other needs. Now, would I say there are times when I've asked you to go to the store when really I probably just wanted to hang out with you somewhere outside of the house and felt disappointed? But it's disappointed. It's not anger or it's not upset. It's disappointed, right? So it's different, So, yeah, I'll say that. I'll go that far. But there's times when, I don't want to do something. I'm sure there's times when you've been disappointed, right? So that's also what happens.
Well, I know I just have to be patient. You always, you won't go for very long, without hanging out with me or, okay, we don't go out a lot.
No.
But we spend quality time. You're always there for me. You're my rock.
Well, the one thing I would say is I would never ask you to change your schedule, but I do miss you late at nights, 10, 11 o'clock at night when we used to be night owls.
Yeah, I know.
So anyway, that's all. But hey, you need your schedule for reasons that you need your schedule for.
I'm actually waking up in the morning now.
Yeah. So
yeah, and you wake up around 10. When I'm up, 6, 7?
Yeah, it depends. You're all over the place sometimes.
I know. Sometimes Oh, I'm trying not. I wake up. Okay, I'm going down a rabbit hole. Never mind.
I don't think they're interested
No.
in our. Well, maybe they are, but who knows? We'll find out. Okay, so what do we've got going on tonight?
Okay, let's just really get into it right out the gate. Found out my boyfriend got a naked lap dance the day we found out I was pregnant. She was like 6 months old, 6 months along when this happened. Okay, she found out. I flew off the handle and slapped him and broke things. And now she is full of remorse. And he's not, he's trying to be understanding and he's contrite. I'm sorry. I don't know what I was thinking, darling. Please calm down. You're going to hurt the baby. Yeah. You were 6 months pregnant, Lordy. Give yourself a break.
Well, I don't know. Here's the thing. How much of a break do you give yourself? Would you give her partner a break under similar circumstances?
No, that's true.
But, extenuating.
But she's 6 months pregnant.
Yeah, I know. We give women a lot of passes for bad behavior. We give them a lot of excuses. We give men a lot of excuses too, but women have unique excuses. So there's two things at play here. One, she can't actually forgive herself for her bad behavior. He can forgive her. And he probably already has, would be my guess, right? She cannot forgive herself because otherwise she will allow herself to go down that path again. Right. So she has to nip this in the bud on her own. Right. And yes, you can blame the pregnancy for the extra surge of hormones, which may make you more prone
It was more extreme.
and more extreme reaction, but that reaction still is in there.
It is.
It's a reaction that she's probably been able to contain because of previously. That's what she needs to work on. So this particular incident, one singular incident never bothers me, right? Extenuating circumstances, I grant those things from an external advisor or from the partner's perspective. But from her perspective, she should not forgive herself. She needs to work on that part of herself that has these reactions. I'm not saying she needs to beat herself up constantly over
Well,
it.
that's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying she can't forgive herself. She can't go, oh, well, I'm pregnant. It's fine.
know. I'm not saying that at all.
Yeah. So I think we can be understanding, but I think her husband has already forgiven her, right? Men are very easy about forgiving these kind of things. We don't care. The slap didn't hurt that bad and we can buy new dishes. That's, it's not a problem. And I was an idiot. So, all right, we'll round it up. Yeah, it's fine. We'll forgive you. It's 6 months. We'll forget about it, right? It's literally how we are. But she should not allow herself because that becomes a dangerous road. Once you allow yourself to respond that way, once you give yourself a pass for responding that way, it becomes much easier to.
No, she has to spend some time in the mirror.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. That's all. She clearly doesn't necessarily like this about herself. She's full of remorse. So she
doesn't want to repeat it.
She's on the right path. So
yeah, but
I just wouldn't be so quick for her perspective to give her the pass. Make sure you do some work before you give yourself a pass. How's that? Okay.
My cousin has convinced herself that my husband is in love with her. How do we deal with this?
I don't know. That's actually a good one. I suppose the best way to deal with this is you kind of don't, right? You just kind of drop contact.
You just don't talk to her.
Yeah, that's really the initial way you deal with it.
Yeah.
You just kind of stop contact. hopefully these things, she finds a different fascination. Now, you may want to have a conversation with a brother, mother, somebody about, mental state, because maybe she's, latching on to things that aren't real, disconnected from reality, shall we say. If she's disconnected from reality here, she may be disconnected from reality in other places, and that can get dangerous for her, if nothing else.
I agree.
So it may be a conversation with someone who has some influence with her, mother, brother, sister, that type of thing is the place to start. Maybe that's the, find the rational person in the family, and who hopefully has
some influence. Yeah.
Yeah. Because not all families have rational people in them. So, you may be stuck. She may be the rational one in the family, right? So, but my guess is there's a mother, brother, cousin, uncle, grandma, grandparent, something that has knowledge that can help you navigate. So break contact where you can, and then seek out some, the family matriarch to help you navigate it. There we go. That's a better answer.
There we go.
Okay.
I'm nervous about meeting my boyfriend's best friends for the first time. How do I handle insecurities and boundaries?
Okay, well, why are you already talking boundaries?
What's happening here?
Yeah.
They're supposed to meet up for some drinks, that's,
Yeah. Well, I understand the nervousness, right? I get it. You're meeting your boyfriend.
You want him to like you, everything to go well.
Yes, but you're already talking about, so you're handling insecurities, but you're already talking about needing to impose boundaries on why are you trying to control his relationship? It's not like they're coming, it doesn't appear like they're coming to stay at their house or something, and you need for a couple of weeks, and you need some, boundaries about where you can go. So what boundaries could she possibly be talking about?
And she didn't stay.
Yes, I'm getting this. I get the feeling, and I could very well be wrong, that she's, this boundaries comment makes me think that she's wanting some control of this relationship. And that is what's going to make his friends not like you. It's perfectly fine to be nervous. They're expecting that. They don't even have to like you necessarily. But as long as you don't try to control their relationship with their friend, you'll be fine. Right?
You'll be all right. Really. But let go of the whole boundaries issue. Just let it be.
Yeah, until there's a need for it, there's no need to have a discussion about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that'd be my thing. Change your perspective. You're there to meet someone's friends.
Yeah.
You're not there to define how relationships are going to work long term.
Yeah. You're just meeting up for drinks, dude.
Yeah. Don't make it into something it's not, and that will help with your nervousness, right?
There you go.
Just go and spend some time with your boyfriend. Say hi, go bowling, do whatever it is you do. Just be your natural self as best you can. Stop worrying about controlling things, and you will be fine. You start worrying about controlling things, and you're going to end up with problems. Simple as that.
Okay.
All right.
This one's my girlfriend and her best friend used to hook up with other people. And they would do videos and stuff, and they just had a grand old time.
Okay. Yeah.
And he found out about this, and he confronted her, and she's like, it was years ago. It was a short period of my life when I was just going a little crazy, and that's not how I view things now. I just want to be with you.
Well, see, this is the thing. They're in their late 30s, right?
But he doesn't know what he doesn't know what he should do.
It's here, look, for all of you in your late 30s, it's your millennials, right?
Yeah.
You guys have to understand that the hookup culture you guys were so proud of has consequences.
Yes.
And so now you as a person have to decide how you're going to deal with this going forward, because you're going to have large chunks of the theoretically available population is going to have some form of history that you are going to find, shall we say, distasteful, questionable.
Yeah.
So me personally, I'm like, these kind of things don't bother me, and I'm old, but maybe that's why they don't bother me. But if they do bother you, then they bother you, right? So you're just going to have to make a decision now about how these kind of things, you're going to deal with these kind of things going forward. And, is it going to be an issue or is it not? You're going to allow it to be an issue or not? And if that's your standard, then that's fine. Just understand that that's your standard. So I also don't understand the need to, I'm confronting someone about things they did long before we even
met,
knew each other. Yeah. So the very fact that you felt the need to confront, and rather than we discussed it.
Yeah, I found that very interesting when we first got together. I asked you, did you want to hear my history? Usually people want to hear it, and you're like, no.
It's not that interesting.
That was I'm more interested in now.
Yeah, I don't have time for them. I don't have time for the past, So I don't know. It's so my suggestion would be to learn to live with these kind of things, right? Because you're gonna eliminate a lot of perfectly fine human beings by not doing so.
You really are.
But you have, there's not a right or wrong answer. If that's your standard, that's your standard. It's perfectly fine to live by them, and then go look for someone who doesn't have such a, storied past. But you're in your late 30s. Sorry,
you're gonna come up. This is gonna come up again.
Yeah, everybody's gonna have a past at this stage, and so how active that past will be is, might be a different question. But everybody's gonna have a past. Okay.
We opened up Pandora's box with BDSM, and I don't see my husband the same anymore. Now, she did say their life outside of the bedroom hasn't been affected.
Well, except it has.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah.
And, but he doesn't treat her any differently.
But she treats him differently.
Yeah. But in the bedroom, that's all he wants to do is BDSM. He doesn't want to do vanilla at all anymore. And she just doesn't see him in the same light as the same person. This was something she knew nothing about, his personality.
Well, that's the problem with opening Pandora's box, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you can't put that stuff back.
You can't.
Well, this is part of the problem. One, when you've put something away for a long time and then you get to go out and play with it again, and you like an obsessed child, you play with it all the time until you get an opportunity to get bored with it. Now, the problem with this perception is you're not a toy. A human being's not a toy, right? And we don't know which side these things go on, right? These things can go. Just give me a second. This guy. Yeah. All right.
It's not kind of to be expected, I think. That you're going to see him differently.
Well, this is one of the reasons I always say I don't like having, putting power things in relationships. It makes things weird.
Yeah.
You don't like playing power games because it doesn't. even if it stays in the bedroom, it doesn't actually stay in the bedroom. And this is a perfect example of that because it can't help but leach. Because again, one person wants it more often than the other.
She's done.
The natural.
She wants it no more ever.
Yeah. So it is what it is.
You're gonna have to talk to him.
Yeah. And you may have essentially broken your relationship. It's entirely possible.
It might.
It might be because now he doesn't want to go back into he doesn't want to put his sexuality back in the box.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Well, clearly he doesn't. So this is going to the question: how important is it to each one? These are the questions. These are the weird, goofy things that end relationships, right? So, just saying. So understand, how important that kind of thing is to you before you start going down that road. Okay, what is next?
Okay. My fiance does not seem to like sex.
Yeah, that happens, actually. Sometimes they have undiagnosed medical conditions, so it's not comfortable. And so because it's not comfortable, it's, why do you want to do something that hurts? Type of thing. Maybe they have shall I say, an unpleasant history around it. So it becomes a chore, or there's some, maybe even if the trauma has been dealt with, it still has echoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you happen to trip into that. But just as we discussed, you're going to have to decide now how important, a sex life is or isn't to you. In the grand scheme of relationship calculations, how important it is to you. Because you're going to have to assume it's not going to change for the better. Maybe it does, right? Maybe she hits 30 and flips, the proverbial switch flips, and she becomes the tigress. That's why I'm assuming that's
yeah.
Can that happen? Sure, but you better not expect it. It can happen, right? Maybe it's a medical thing. Maybe she's going through some hormone things. Maybe her birth control pill is having a causing sex drive issues because it's the wrong hormone mix for her, right? There's a wide variety of theoretical things this could be. Or she could just be one of those people who don't enjoy sex, but is willing to do it anyway for the love of her partner. And
it seems like that's what she's been doing.
So,
because she really does care for him.
Yeah. But that's a hard thing to continue on for 20 years.
It really is.
And you can do it for 3 or 4, but 10, 20, it becomes a different task. Not that it hasn't been done. Not that it hasn't been done, but it's a different.
I remember a line from an old Western, just close your eyes and think of cannon peaches.
But here's the thing. Have this discussion before you go beyond fiance.
Yes.
Because if you can't talk about this now, the ability to communicate your way through this is going to lead you a long way into how successful you are going to be in communicating your way through lots of problems. Because if you can communicate your way through this successfully, you'll be able to communicate your way through pretty much anything your life throws at you. Because this one covers like all the bases: embarrassment, personal thing, right? It's just no one wants to talk about this kind of thing. So if you guys can sit down and have a rational human conversation and deal with whatever it is, whatever it happens to be, then you guys are on path to a successful marriage. So that's what my suggestion is. Deal with this like the adults you are, and as uncomfortable and that conversation is going to be, have it, because you don't want to have it in 5 years when you've pent up frustrations and everything else is resentments and all this stuff is built up. Have it now where you don't have to deal with all that extra stuff. Right now is the easiest time this conversation is ever going to be again.
Ever.
It's never going to get easier. It's only going to get harder. So have it as soon as possible.
Definitely.
Okay.
Okay, last question.
All right.
Do condoms usually hurt?
Oh, well, that's a thrilling last question.
And she's a female.
Yes. Well, usually, one, I wouldn't really know from a female perspective
Okay.
if they usually hurt or not.
They do if it's dry. You have to use a lubricant, and then you can. But you really it shouldn't really feel that much different.
Well, I would think that the skin slides past each other a little smoother than whatever you're using. The very fact that you need lubricant, right? You need extra lubricant is telling you that it's a little stickier. Doesn't mean it hurts. Just mean it's a little grabbier.
Yes.
That's all it means. But again, if something's hurting, and the question is, does it hurt without? Maybe she doesn't want to test that theory, and which is understandable, right? Not wanting to test that theory. But I'd be curious as if it hurt without, or is this something is just intercourse is painful, and that's a doctor's question.
I was going to say, please, in any case, please go talk to your doctor.
Yeah, make a phone call, even if to the nurse practitioner, the nurse advice thing or something, because.
And believe me, they've heard it all.
Yeah, it's because I'm more worried about that it hurts when there's not condoms on.
Yeah.
And this is an intercourse pain problem. And there's 100 things. Well, probably not 100, but there's a number of things that can cause that can be dealt with.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, it shouldn't hurt, right? On occasion, for everybody, sex becomes uncomfortable, right? And sometimes there's pleasure in pain and all of that kind of stuff. But generically speaking, it shouldn't hurt. That's your first time.
Shouldn't.
That's your first time anyway.
Yeah. That's your first time. Put that caveat in.
Yeah, we'll put that one in there again. We discussed that last week.
Yes, we did.
All right. So whether you're navigating jealousy, kink, or awkward family dynamics, remember you're not alone. Love is complicated, and late night love is here for the ride. That's a play on words. Okay, let's wrap up tonight's episode of Late Night Love. If you've laughed, cringed, or felt seen, hit subscribe, share with a friend, and join us next time as we keep unpacking life, love, and everything in between. Until then, stay curious and kind, and even a little bit messy. Have a good night, and please remember to love everybody.
Good night.